Okay, you have a point there. I'll give you that point there. But let's go deeper on when we talk about statistics of single motherhood rate.
Mm-hmm.
So, since you said that it's a lot of men, who are raising these men? Because if the single mother rate is at 70%, over 70% when we were kids, so we're dealing with that. So,
well, their mothers are raising them to the best of their abilities, while the fathers pop in and out of their lives, or choose not to be
or was
fathers.
kicked out by the mom.
And either way it goes, even if you slip with the mother, guess what? You still have a child, and you still have ability and capability to do what you do.
How many women use their kid as a bargaining chip?
How many men go to court and fight for them?
A lot.
Exactly. And how many of them win? A lot. Georgia favors the father.
Really?
I know that for a fact. Yes.
Well,
I've gone through the court. Georgia favors the father.
Well, that's not in most states.
Yeah.
That's not in most states.
Well,
in most situations.
I'm going to tell you
Georgia,
right now.
Every man who is dealing with a crazy baby mama should move to Georgia.
Let me tell you, and this is not being funny or anything. This is being God's honest truth. A lot of men don't have it in them to fight to be fathers for their kids, because if you wanted to be a father, you will be a father. It's nothing listen, I'm a mother. It's nothing anyone on this earth can do to stop me from being a mother. If I have to go sell an organ to get a lawyer to fight for my child, I'm going to do anything I have to do. But fathers are not like that, because y'all don't become fathers the moment the child is created. Y'all don't become fathers until you create a bond with that child. And
That's true.
I've seen it. My son, dad, he was okay, we're having a baby. He had it in his head, but it didn't hit him until I literally had the baby and just holding him in his hand. And I watched it. I saw the moment that he bonded with our son. I watched it. Like, he literally got the baby from the doctor, and that was the moment he knew he was a dad.
I have homegirls who got pregnant and didn't even want the kid, had the baby, and didn't become a mom until they actually saw the kid. So I mean, it can go either way. But a lot of men are unable to actually fight and win. Like, litigation takes hell of time.
It's really not that hard.
How do you figure?
Because it's not. You go to the magistrate court and you pay $50 to go before the judge. Mm-hmm. And when you go before the judge is going to ask you, do you need paternity to be established for this child? Mm-hmm. And if you say no, I know for a fact that it's my child, he's going to say, all right, raise your hand. He's going to swear you in saying that this is your child. It's going to be written down and documented that this is your child. Mm-hmm. And then it's going to become are you asking for joint custody, or are you asking for full custody? Mm-hmm. Okay? If you live in the same state as your child, you ask for joint custody, because they can split the week with you. If you're in the same district of your child and you're able to get him or her to and from school each day, you can split the week. Men don't know their rights. You can split the week. If you're not in the same district but you're in the same state, you can do every other weekend. You have a right to that. But it all happens once you establish paternity. You got to go before a judge to do that. It costs $50. I'm serious.
And that's in Georgia.
That's in Mississippi too. I'm from Mississippi. Magistrate court. All you have to do is go to the magistrate court and pay to go before a judge. You have to establish fraternity, because even if you sign a birth certificate, the courts haven't created a jurisdiction for your child. So like my son's jurisdiction, he was born in Mississippi. So they have jurisdiction over him. So they're the ones who were able to say, okay, his dad is his dad, so he has a right to him. He has a legal right to him. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of men just don't know their rights, and they're easily intimidated by the ideal of going to court. They're easily intimidated. A lot of men hear court and they go, oh no, I wouldn't win.
But a lot of times they don't. And they heard about... Yes,
most men don't try.
But you can't say that, because a lot of men do try. You can't say most men
They
don't.
go through DHS.
Because most time when they go through those situations, the court does appoint...
They go through
custody to the mom.
DHS. You do not go through DHS. Go to the magistrate court by yourself. Do not go through DHS. Men set themselves up. If you go the cheap route, you get cheap results. And what I mean by that is, if you let the mother of your child tell you, I'm going to go to apply for food stamps or Medicaid or something like that, and then I'm going to put you on child support through there, because they're going to force them to put you on child support. Oh, well, if you want to get food stamps, or if you want to get life insurance or any of this or medical insurance for your kid, you got to sign the dad up for child support. That's how they get most people, because these women are also not knowledgeable, so they don't know better, so they fall for that. That's not correct. You don't have to do that.
That does lean more so people not knowing their rights and everything.
Because you don't.
Do you honestly believe that most men, and I'm not talking about that just bum men, but most men of high value men, do you think they don't want to be fathers, or they wouldn't do that?
I think that they enjoy being able to pick and choose when to be a father. Let's get real here. They enjoy being able to pick and choose. During this pandemic, do you know how many mothers lost their jobs? Do you know how many mothers had to rearrange their schedules to be able to take care of those kids? Do you think that the fathers stepped up? Do you think they tried to?
I think that the fathers probably lost their jobs too, because a lot of people lost their jobs.
But guess who kept providing?
The government?
The mothers. The mothers. Because when this pandemic happened, guess what I did? Start driving Uber to go around my son's school schedule so that I could still make money and still take care of him. Because as a mother, I'm always going to do what I have to do. It doesn't matter if I don't feel like it. If I have to go Uber while he's sleeping until he wakes up in the morning so I can make sure I have that rent money and he can still go to school and I can watch him be at school. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. A mother, you do what you have to do. A father, you do what you want to do. And that's for the ones who aren't full-time fathers. Because I know some single fathers now.
Because that's what I'm trying to get to. Because when it comes down to, let's say, you're dealing with men who don't want to be fathers, mm-hmm. that goes off of who you're choosing to be with.
Yeah, facts. But you can't say that either because people change. Once you have a kid, everything changes.
Okay, then. So even with those certain people, I know there has to be a way that men are stepping up, that men are actually out here doing something.
Now, I'm not saying they're not, because like I said, I hang around all men who are handling their business, and I know single fathers who literally, the mothers won't do anything. Yeah. It just depends on you, because I'm not saying that mothers are better parents.
And the type of men that do that, what kind of background do they have?
Some of them have very successful backgrounds.
I'm talking about as far as upbringing.
Some of them have parents, and that's what makes it hard, because it's like if you come from a household with two parents, why would you not want your child to have access to two parents? I'm telling you,
but they end up being single parents.
Yeah.
See, that's what we're going to. It's like where did that person come from? Me personally, anytime I date a woman, I make sure she at least has two parents. They don't have to be in the same house. But at least I need her to know her dad. That helps me. Because if you don't, now I'm dealing with the woman who was raised by a single woman, and she probably has some type of negative attitude towards men.
I think that that's a fair assessment, but I also think that, not for you because you're my friend, but for other people, I don't think that you should count women out because they don't know their father. My real father died when I was 7 years old. Some stuff you can't control.
No, but you had a male influence.
Yes.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. The two-parent household, it doesn't even have to be the legit blood dad, but you actually have to have that structure. Structure means a lot.
I get what you're saying, but that's not reality for this generation of people.
No.
It's not the reality. It's not even realistic to say you need to come from a place where you have two parents in the household, and it's not
in the household, just as
or just two. But you can't say that because nowadays coaches are playing filling those positions for people. People you go to school with, you just don't ever. Those positions can be filled easily.
I'm saying as a generalization. I understand what you're saying.
I get what you're saying.
Even with like, yes, I know people who come from single mother households, mm-hmm. and they're great people. Mom worked extra hard, and hats out to them. Even the women in my family, strong women. A lot of them were single moms, mm-hmm. so I can see how it worked. And then I have some cases in my family where it didn't work.
But you gotta stop thinking that. Okay, so I get what you're saying, but I also understand this. Just because you and that person doesn't work out, and you guys have a kid together, it doesn't mean that your kid will be badly affected by it. A lot of people also feel like black people come from these single parent households and that's what's making them do this and that, and that's not true. You can come from a single parent household and still be extremely respectful, successful, and know how to love and be surrounded with love. Because my son is literally at home with me, and everyone who meets him brags on the fact that he's respectful, he's loving, he's full of love, and he's full of life. Mm-hmm. Because I've set him down and I've explained to him, look, me and your dad didn't work out, but we both have love for you and we're both still your family. You get what I'm saying? A village is a group of people who love you and support you no matter what.
That's true.
And I think the black community needs to go back to that.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. The village was destroyed.
Yeah, they need to go back to the village.
So it's great that you have coaches and stuff like that, and you do the co-parenting thing, and like all that is needed. That helps mold a kid. But since that has been like that's been destroyed, even to the point where not as many black people even go to church or use the church. They more so use the government more than anything else.
Well, they stopped using the church because the church is a judgmental place. Who wants to go, and I'm not saying all churches are judgmental, but who wants to go before people who will judge you before they help you, but ask you for 10% of your income? You ask me for 10% of my income, but when
true.
I'm struggling, you're going to judge me before you offer me that 10% back to pay the bill.
Even down to the judgmental part, that's not even the worst part about the church. So
Just
the worst part is just the fake prosperity gospel that they're preaching.
What?
So that's the worst thing.
I mean, it's just, well, a pastor is a man. A pastor is a man before anything. So people worship these men because a pastor is a man or a woman. They worship people who literally are doing the things that they're preaching to you not to do.
I mean,
they tell you don't cheat on their wives, but a lot of them cheat.
All that goes down to the church that you're going to. Me, I always have like a certain rule. If my church doesn't preach about hell, I won't go. Okay. You have to tell me about sin. If you just tell me all this feel good stuff and all this stuff, and even down to the fact when you start teaching about that you are God. No, you're not a God. Sorry, you're not. That's just life. So any of that prosperity gospel or anything like that, I don't deal with. As far as the judgmental aspect, I don't care about judging, but judge righteously.
We all judge. A first impression is nothing more than a judgment. So we all judge, but it's just the difference in the church is you want me to pay you to judge me.
But even down to the 10%, the 10% doesn't actually have to go to God per se in the church house. 10%, when people were paying tithes and offerings, they were paying tithes and offerings as in sacrifices, like certain sheep or cattle or something like that.
Correct. So, but they turned it into a form of
selling stuff.
Yeah, it's become...
It's a financial gain.
It's a financial gain, exactly. Because pastors are riding around in BMWs.
Pastors have actual stores in their churches. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why Jesus flipped over the table in the sanctuary. So, because people were selling stuff in God's house, and you're not supposed to do that. So, but if the church actually played the role they were supposed to, if the village came together, the church is part of that village. If we came back to that community, it will work. But it all starts with the family unit. Now, I'm not saying that everybody has to be together, but it does help the child in growing.
Okay, so for you, what is a woman?
What is a woman? A woman is first my helpmeet, my supporter in the things that I have to do. A woman is a nurturer. She gives loyalty and love. What else? It's pretty much like all I can think of, like off top.
Okay, so what do you do to ensure that have you taken the time to learn your woman's love language? Because that's seriously like one of the biggest issues because you said what's going on with the black community and why aren't the relationships lasting? The relationships are not lasting because they're not learning each other's love language. Some people like me.
I can't believe that because I think love language is a new thing. But continue.
Well, I mean, it's really not because as you look over it, look back on your parents. Mm-hmm. Look at how your father handled your mother. Mm-hmm. Look how she handled him. Mm-hmm. Because when you're with someone and you're growing with that person, you're learning them, and you got to keep relearning them because as they grow and change, what they need or what will keep them satisfied or in a good peace of mind, it changes. It changes with you. Mm. It's a process. People think you just fall in love with somebody and you love them forever. No, some days you're not even going to like that person. Because people change and you got to be willing to change with them. That's part of the biggest issue. People expect their spouse to stay the same. And no one's saying the same. We're all evolving.
Oh, no, because a relationship is work. That is true.
Yeah. So have you taken the time to learn the love languages of what your person needs? Like, what is it that, because sometimes men think that black women are being aggressive because they're super passionate about something, but maybe they've experienced something that caused them to be insecure. So maybe they need you to be a little more assertive, or maybe they need you to be a little more willing to inform them of things so that they can feel secure with you again, because women want to feel secure with their man.
Well, see, I don't really understand the love language. I know what it is, but I always believe that men and women, if we just believe in the difference in genders, need different things.
Okay.
So, let's say dealing with my lady, dealing with a woman. Anyway, women need attention.
Okay.
That is, no, women need to be talked to,
Definitely.
and they need to be looked at for a long period of time. They need to get hugs and kisses all the time on some random things. Like, women need that. Women need you to say that they're pretty,
Yes,
and that you love them and all that stuff.
because when you're their person, you're the only person they want to hear that you're pretty from.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, everybody else can be like, you're pretty, but if your man doesn't say that you're pretty, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a waste of time.
And women need to be listened to.
Right.
Like, even when y'all don't talk about anything, I know, like, when you talk about work, it's not really an interesting story, but I'm going to listen to the whole story. And I know it's probably, like, not going to end the way I would tell the story, but it would be entertaining. So women need that. Women need to go on random dates. Women need to be shown off with you, because they need. And it's kind of crazy, and that's why I go on the feminism thing. Like, I have an issue with it, because feminism makes it seem like women can't be women. Like, women want to be seen as objects to their men sometimes. Like, we want to be like, oh yeah, that's my girl over there looking pretty, and look at her booty. Like, women like random stuff like that. Not all the time, but from their man, yes. Like, they need those random times that you grab them on their butt if you're in a relationship. Like that. So I feel that all women need that, and they need to feel like you can protect them.
Well, I think men need, from my point of view of what I've been learning, I think men need to be able to trust you to be vulnerable, so that they can be vulnerable without feeling like you're gonna judge them. Because
Yeah.
I think some men are in tune with their feminine side, and what I mean by that
Or
is
bring it
just,
up in an argument.
huh?
Or bring it up in an
Oh
argument.
yeah. Your man need to be able to tell you things and be vulnerable with you, and have those moments of doubt without you throwing it back in their face. They need to be able to open up to you about past trauma that they may have experienced. They gotta be able to trust you, because men, they love harder than women because it's harder for them to fall in love.
Yeah.
Because y'all don't really trust as
No.
easy as women. And it's really because y'all are always so worried about being judged also, because men are judged very harshly all the time if you're not hard enough, or I think that men need that, and I think they need friendship and peace, because the world is already looking at black men with so much anger and hostility, and I think they need peace from their women.
Peace is always a plus.
Yeah, so I think men need that, and I think men need sex. And the reason why I'm saying that is
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of women will get upset and then they'll withhold sex, and I think that that causes a lot of men to cheat too, because men
that
are
doesn't work.
physical people. So if you're not going to do it for a very long amount of time, I'm going to go cheat on you.
Yeah.
That's kind of how men are now. I've learned that. So I think that's what men need, and I think they need to feel like they can lead you. They need to feel like they're in control sometimes.
That's true.
I think they feel like they want to know that they're the dominant person and you're submissive to them sometimes, and that you'll have their back if they fall off, because every man is always worried about falling off, because if you can't provide, you're not a man, at least in society.
And that's not to say that every woman should just blindly follow a man.
Right.
A woman needs to find a reason to submit to a man, and a man needs to give that reason for them to submit. And even when it comes down to being with a woman, women need to understand that we know as men that y'all can get any man that y'all want to. But the thing is, we know as men that we're the one who choose to be with that particular woman. We pretty much say that we're going to be in a relationship. Y'all control the sex aspect, but we control the actual relationship to infinity. Like me, I believe that when divorce happens, it happens because the man didn't fight hard enough for his relationship. Relationships in divorce, like marriages end in divorce, over 50% of them, 80% are initiated by the woman. And I really feel like that's because the man didn't fight hard enough for their relationship.
Well, I think women we're mental. So you lose us mentally before you ever lose us physically.
Yeah.
Where men, you lose them physically before you lose them mentally.
Yeah.
So it's just we're the opposite. So I can stay with you for 2 years and my mind could be elsewhere.
Yeah,
Because we have to prepare ourselves to leave. Because when we're preparing ourselves to leave, we have to think about all the things that come along with leaving and starting over again. Especially when you hit a certain age. So now you got to think, dang, I've invested 5 years into this relationship. If I leave, I got to start over and try to find a new person. If I want to have kids, I got to have this new person by this year. You know, like it's a lot on women. So I think that's why it takes women longer to actually leave. Because a lot of women are not happy or satisfied in their relationships. They stay because they're comfortable and they're scared to start over. Especially after you hit like 29 or 28, 29ish.
Yeah.
And going into that
biology.
Yeah, because now you've been told your whole life, oh, when you get 30, it's gonna be hard to have kids. Oh, when you get so now it's a time clock on you, and it weighs heavy on you. And I'm just starting to feel it at 28, but it weighs heavy on you because it's like if I want another child, I have to do this within these next couple of years because I know for Black women, pregnancy rates or higher risk pregnancy starts occurring after 30. So I know that I'm risking not being able to have a baby, not surviving this birth or whatever. If I leave this man, who's to say I'm going to find another man who I can have a child with? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of women don't leave because of that. But then they get to the point where they're like, I don't even want to care about him, so I'm just going to leave. And
I think a lot of men, they choose not to leave the relationship just because of the fear of being alone.
Oh, yeah.
Like that really stops a lot of men, and they don't feel like they're up to par to get another woman to a certain standard that previous woman was. A lot of it is fear and doubt. But at the end of the day, I believe that certain times relationships, they can work if you just communicate a little bit. I kind of get upset when people say that they outgrow each other. It's more so is, are you doing the same thing to work on the relationship and keep that relationship going? Because what you do in the beginning, you probably need to continue doing that. You already set a standard at the beginning.
I think people can outgrow each other, and it's a hard reality, but it's a reality. And the reason why I say that is because you can be willing to fight and put forth your best effort for a relationship, and the person you're with cannot be. So their willingness or eagerness to be with you has changed. And that happens a lot. That's why a lot of people end up breaking up, because it feels like they're the only one fighting for the relationship. So you are right. A lot of men don't fight. But what happens is they don't fight then, and they let the woman go. And so once they let that woman go and she goes and gets herself back together, because with a woman, after a breakup, it's a process. You got to build yourself back up to even be able to go out here and try to date again. So by the time you finish building yourself up, guess who's knocking or texting or trying to come back? Because now it takes men a little longer to realize what they've lost, is what I've noticed. So they'll act like they're cool without you, and months will go by, but you'll get over them. And
we can be kind of cool without y'all because, like we said before, men are more physical. But then also, when you think about it, women like people. Men, we like things. So we can have a lot of things, and I like to fill that void of y'all leaving.
Correct, but when you find somebody that you really love, that loves you and knows you, it's different. It's different. That's how you know when you find your person, because you don't want to be without that person. So that's the difference. You men are physical. Y'all are lustful people. You guys are visual people. It's nothing that could happen. You can have the baddest woman on your arm, and if another bad woman walk by, you're gonna look, because it's natural. But when you find somebody who's your partner, who's your person, who you want to be with, yes, you might be able to fill the void of that person being there, but you're going to notice the difference. No matter what you put there or try to replace her with, you're going to notice the difference because that was your person. That's the difference between your person and somebody you're just dealing with.
But that's why it's kind of harder for us in relationships, because I can't even say harder, but when we do get that emotional connection with a woman, like it's an actual emotional connection. Now we may not pay attention to it, and we may try to hide it deep, but it's an actual emotional connection. So when y'all leave, we don't care at the initial time, but then certain stuff does go through your mind. And you're like, oh dang, that's one gone.
But I mean, from my experience, like I said, they always try to come back after I build myself up, and it's like no, because once you
women do the same thing.
Well, I'm not sure. You gotta tell me because you're the man, so you gotta give me that perspective. I don't know that perspective, but I am saying I've built myself up, and once I get built up, and once I'm over you, because one thing about I'm a submissive woman, which might shock. I'm actually very submissive. When I'm in a relationship, I'm submissive to my man, and I don't try to be anything other than that. But when I come out of that relationship, if I'm not with you anymore, I get myself to get over you, and once I get over you, you cannot come back. You cannot come back because nothing in me will desire you the way I once desired you.
I mean, I've seen and I've been in situations where women, they do the same thing, but y'all do it a different way. Y'all end up like some women, they'll sleep with multiple men and then try to come back to you, or they'll go in a situation where they'll end up being with someone and they don't like this person, but they'll have a kid with that person and then want to be back in your life, and it's like, look, I can't deal. So there's a lot of terrible people out there. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say.
So
it's kind of you can see though that toxicity in people from the beginning, but we choose to be blind to certain things.
Okay, so why men can go cheat, but when their women cheat, they act like they're about to die. Why y'all
because
like that?
When women cheat, y'all, like I said before, y'all are cheating emotionally. Like y'all actually have an emotional connection with that guy, and then also it's because y'all are the receivers.
Yeah,
like it's like I don't no, I'm not gonna say that, but y'all actually, the image is terrible. Do you understand that? Like I don't even know how to even explain it. Yeah, like I can't even explain it. It's a terrible image, and it's just like, I can't believe you let somebody destroy your insides while you with me. Like, what is wrong with you?
But you destroyed someone's inside while you was with me. Come on.
Don't even remember her name though.
Men are funny as
you actually kissed the dude in the mouth. That's terrible.
Men are so funny.
So it's like, that's the only reason why it's because it's wrong. It's just something so wrong about that. It's the same thing about I can understand a man with multiple wives.
Okay.
I can understand that. A woman with multiple husbands, I can't understand that.
Why can you understand a man with multiple wives when
because he can get all those women pregnant. That woman gets pregnant by all the
different men.
I know, but whose baby is it the first time? We don't know. We're fighting over it.
No.
Do you know there's actually a case in Florida where they actually was in a relationship like that, and nobody knew whose baby it was.
DNA test.
Yeah, it didn't end up going like that, and somebody ended up going to prison.
Why? They kill somebody?
Violence and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's like certain things. You can't have all those lions in the same pride. Lionesses can be in the same pride. You can't have a group of lions. The testosterone's too high.
Just don't ask for anything you're not willing to do. Don't ask. And you know what? We can go on to this subject too. Nowadays, women are so desperate for men, they're willing to do things that they're not even really comfortable with to keep a man. Such as threesomes, that so many women are offering their men threesomes or doing threesomes with their man, and it's not because they enjoy it. Because if they enjoy it, that's one thing. You enjoy other females, that's good for you to experience that with your man. It's when they actually don't enjoy other women and they're willing to do it. It's like, don't put yourself in a situation that he wouldn't put himself in a situation for you. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, that's true. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Like if he wouldn't do it for you, don't do it for him.
We don't even have to go into that because I believe that wholeheartedly. Yeah, like honestly, I believe that anytime that you alter or try to mess with sex in some type of perverse way, you're going to ruin the relationship. Yep. Period.
But that's part of why the relationships in the black community aren't working either, because they're opening their bedrooms to people to try to please someone who's not ready to settle down.
And that's true. That's true. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna end on that because that was a good one.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining me, Lent. I'm your host, TJ Evans, with another episode of Untitled Discussion. Please do the YouTube thing, like the video, subscribe to the page, and comment down below, and all that good stuff. Y'all take it easy. Peace.
Told you he wasn't gonna just